Well, the rest of that got installed okay. My plan was to pull enough through the wall so that it reached to where we wanted to go to inside, then wrap the rest around the support cable until we got to that point, cut it to length there, and then connect it to the T-piece. And instead what they did was they just shoved it through the wall until there was enough left over there to put to the T-piece. So we've got excess hose inside. I guess if we ever install the other water point inside the other kitchen, we'll get the surplus hose back. But no, well. Anyway, that's fine. And my plan here at the shed has been to put a T in before that stop valve there, so we could have another stop valve for the later aquaponics. But instead they just left that valve off and installed this extra stuff on here coming across, and I said okay, we'll put a T-piece for the aquaponics in that line. So that's what this line across is to this tap over here. That'll feed the aquaponics, which will be behind me when they happen. And on top of that beam up there is where the hose connects onto that PVC pipe. Later on I might come out here and put some sealant along the top of that tile edge there so that the hose can be stuck on that. And it comes in through there, through the wall, into the kitchen over the draining board for the sink. And we've filled up one of those gallons, and then got a mug and tasted the water, and it doesn't taste of hose, so I think we're good. Well, we'll see what it tastes like after the water's been baking in the sun in that hose for a day or two. That might really add some flavour. But for now, we're good. And Dadang's so enamoured with the idea, he's asking what it would involve to getting the water piped across to his house. I think, yeah, we could do that. I have some stainless steel cable and eye bolts and relevant things. So we just have to buy some hose and more fittings. So we'll see. He's saying he's interested, but later. So then up next after that, of course, would be Lizzie wanting an extension from here.
We did have a bit of a leak on this one initially, where it screws into the PVC fitting here. We couldn't get a good seal. Put lots and lots of Teflon tape on it, still couldn't get a seal. So I went over and raided my O-ring sets I brought from Melbourne. So there's a rubber O-ring on there now, and that's perfectly sealed now. Whereas this one out here, Jabita said it was leaking, and I felt the wall behind it and there was nothing, but it turned out it's dripping slowly off this little thing here. So that's what we collected overnight. So I'm kind of debating whether that's worthwhile trying to fix or not. What I'd have to do is take off the cable, the hose clamps, try and get the hose off there without it stuffing up, then try and seal that. I think we might just get by with a very slow leak. No, that's a wet patch on the wall below that beam there to indicate there's any leak topped up there. So I think overall that leakage is pretty low. So there's my reel of stainless steel wire cable. I think there'd be probably enough on there to reach from the shed to Dadang's house, but we can test that. So there are filtered and unfiltered water lines here. The filtered ones come via the steriliser and go across there, so I figure if we put a T in that line, we go upwards, and the hose out to the pillar, a point on the pillar up the top up there, So we'd probably come to a point on the pillar below that front roof and put an eye bolt in up there and string the cable across to the front over here. Kitchen's behind that wall there, so it's a matter of whether we can, probably cable across to a point on that wall, and then the hose can come across and go down and go through a hole in the wall into the kitchen, or PVC pipe, whatever. So yeah, this is not looking difficult. As you've been able to hear, I've got the genset out there running, doing its Sunday morning lubrication run, and yeah, 10 to 10 and 31 degrees, 64% humidity. Yes, I'm warming up. So I think it's time to go and see if the pressure accumulator's drained, and if it has, shut off the valve, turn on the pump, and then shut down the genset and go home. Well, that fuel gauge hasn't moved, but I'm fairly sure we've still got at least half a tank in there. So I'll leave it a bit longer before I top it up. Well, plumbing's always a delight around here. It's fairly apparent that there's a fairly good leak from the T-connector up there. So I need to look at fixing up the cable, the hose clamps on that. So that will be a job for one of the boys, because that involves either hanging over the edge of the roof there quite a bit, or getting a fairly tall ladder up from here. So yeah, we'll have to fix that one. It ends up coming down this bit of spouting here, and you can see the rate of dripping. So that's much more than the leaks what you had inside that we fixed up. When I open this vent valve, which comes down from the top of that, there is a gurgling of air through water, and I've got a pipe on that goes across a bit, and then that's where the water drains out. So that indicates the water is actually getting to the top of that structure over there. And the idea of that was that with this valve turned off and the pump turned on, the pressure is supposed to push the water up there, compressing the air at the top. Given that the water gets to the top, that means that either the air leaks out or the air is absorbed into the water. I think it's the latter. So that's why I come over here on Sundays and Wednesdays, and I turn off the pump, open the valve, the garden tap, and then come and open this vent valve here and let the air flow back in, let the water drain out, then turn this off, turn off the garden tap, and turn the pump back on. But we do have a 19 litre pressure tank inside that, once I finally get the right PVC fitting for it, what we're going to do is come and replace this structure with that 19 litre pressure tank. The difference with the pressure tank is that it actually has a diaphragm in it, so that the water and the air are separated. And it's actually pre-pressurized to 5 psi apparently. So it's going to take 5 psi of water pressure to actually start pushing water into it. Given that we get up to 22 psi here, that means it will compress it quite a bit. So that should be a pressure accumulator that we don't have to keep draining. Should be just a set and forget, which is the aim of buying it. If we find that it still cycles the pump too rapidly, so zzz click, zzz click, zzz click, we can always buy a bigger one or additional, run more in parallel. So we'll see how we go with that. But yeah, I'm still waiting on that PVC 1-inch BSP to PVC pipe fitting from Shopee. There's still a little bit of water draining out of that hose. That shouldn't take much longer.
Once that stops, I'll turn off the tap here in the garden. Where is it? Can't find it. There it is. Yeah, well, back shortly. I must say that most of these leaks in the tank appear to be fairly self-sealing. Like there's not a lot of water lying along that lower shelf there. I think the lime in the concrete sort of crusts up and blocks things. There are still some places that remain damp. As you can see, corner there, spot down there, corner here. And that's just from where I drained the pressure accumulator. And yeah, we definitely have leakage from that outlet from the front tank, but I don't think it's coming down from these cracks higher up along here. Definitely not coming down there anymore, because that was from the previous filter enclosure. I think that's damp, so there's a leak under here somewhere. I don't know why, but there is. And this thing here leaks. I'll just turn the vent valve off, turn the pump back on. But all these cracks out along the front here, it's dry beneath those. Like this is completely dry. It's dry up there, so I think those have self-sealed. You can see how you get the build-up on the outside here. So I think they're mostly okay. It's just primarily those down there. Let's see how this pressure goes. Okay, pressure's building. The red ring is PSI, so it gets to about 22 and it shuts off. There we go, done. Right, well, I'll lock up here and go back to the house. It's Friday, so I need to see about finishing up a video for this week. It's going to be another short one, obviously. Well, I thought further on this leak, but it appears to have stopped. I don't understand that either. But I wasn't going to fix that one on the basis that the water that's coming out of there means it's flushing it from the hose, and that's that much less water that has to be run out of the tap before we get the water to be not smelling of garden hose. Because in the kitchen there, need to run it a bit, otherwise it smells and tastes of garden hose, which is not ideal. And looking at this pipe here, it becomes apparent that Azra and Dadang didn't understand that I had hose on order and was expecting to use that for this connection to the house. They were expecting to use that, which is going to be a bit more difficult, because you've got that transition from the PVC up there. We'd have to somehow or other get up and connect it up to the pipe that hangs from the cable, and then T the connection over at where it descends. So T connection in place of that T connection for the hose, then somehow or other come down and transition into the back patio there. So that would take a bit of fiddling. Yeah, well, I went and hit the auto start on the genset and it started. So making that stop flashing red didn't do anything.
So still need the SPI guys and Trenindo guys to come and sort out what's happening there. But that'll happen in its own sweet time. Well, that's as much as I've got to say for this week. So I'll go and put something together and do a small upload.